I got to a certain page where I was feeling quite sensitive. It was through lockdown, and I burst into tears when I was reading the book to Indy, and she was kind of like, why is Daddy upset? And I was just saying it was just a really beautiful thought, and it was the page. I'll tell you the page it was because I remember it. Asking for help isn't giving up, said the horse. It's refusing to give up. The boy, the mole, the fox, and the horse. And I'm going to tell you a little
Yeah.
story about how this book came into my possession because it was a family friend in America sent 3 copies to my brother Nicky and said, you need to read this to your little kids. They're going to love it. So Nikki gave a copy to my little daughter Indy for her Christmas present. And the first time I sat and read the book to her, like, I thought I was just reading a children's book. And it was only when I got into it and I started reading through the pages and it unraveled. And,
Yeah, yeah.
I found it. I think it's a book for everybody, but I found it really emotional. Like, I'll be honest, I got to a certain page where I was feeling quite sensitive. It was through lockdown, and I burst into tears when I was reading the book to Indy, and she was kind of like, why is Daddy upset? And I was just saying it was just a really beautiful thought, and it was the page. I'll tell you the page it was because I remember it. Asking for help isn't giving up, said the horse. It's refusing to give up. And there's something about that page and that thought when we're going through lockdown, and I had this feeling of everyone that was struggling, and everyone's really struggling with their mental health at the moment. And I thought, what a beautiful
Yeah,
thought.
yeah.
So where did the idea from this book actually come from?
That's a really tough question because on many levels, I didn't really mean it to be a book. It sort of happened by accident, or it made itself, or I just started doing these conversations between the boy and the horse. I think was first, the boy and the mole. They all kind of arrived together, but then I would post them on Instagram, and it was always quite like surprised because I with good close friends, we talk about stuff often that really matters, and I just remember thinking I'd just quite like to have these questions drawn and put on paper. And I've struggled all my life with things. I get anxious a lot. I get low quite a lot. And I when I was a kid at school, I was always I would always be annoying because I remember in chemistry, I remember one particular day, and the chemistry teacher was asking me a question, and I didn't know the answer, and then I just said, "Why are we doing this? If you can tell me why we're bothering to do any of this, then I'll do it." And I think I've always wanted to kind of know why and what we're doing and what the point of anything really is and why we're here and what matters really matters. My best mate was killed when I was 18, and I remember thinking, like, everything's changed now. Like, all these things that we were told are really important are just not important anymore. When people go through that when they're young, it definitely affects you. You wonder, your questions change and your priorities change, and you wonder, why we're doing what we're doing and what at the end of the day, what really matters. And a lot of the things I used to worry about, I didn't worry about anymore, and the things that I never thought about preoccupied me, like the reasons for existence and what at the end of the day really matters, and what we want, and what do we fear, and why do we fear it, and how can we, what's the answer to those questions and fears, and I think a lot of it is the answer is to talk about them. And I was always really ashamed of because I guess in England you were taught to have be sort of unemotional and be a man, and I remember just thinking, well, I'm not like that. I'm quite emotional, and I have questions, and I don't think it is strong to pretend that you don't. I don't think it is strong to try to be fiercely independent. I think it's good to say help. It's good to want to talk about what you feel. And so the book really came about because I really wanted to. I remember thinking, if I get run over by a bus tomorrow, what will I regret not saying?
BBC Sounds. Music, radio, podcasts.